What rights, Elizabeth, have you lost as a woman in the United States of America? And let me guess, you're going to say abortion. So let's talk about abortion. The Supreme Court decided to take Roe v. Wade, and they decided to push it down to the state level for the people to vote and decide whether they want it or not, or want to add amendments or things to those things, right? And the Democrat Party that you love so much had over 50 years to codify it. If they cared so much about your rights and women's rights all over the world, why didn't they do it? Did you ever ask yourself that? No. See, they only talk about women's rights when it comes to be election time, so they can push that rhetoric onto people that are very easily led. So let's talk about that. We don't want to talk about anything other than the abortion and killing unborn children. That's all you guys seem to care about. You don't want to care about talking about preventative measures. You want to talk about teaching the younger generation of women to have respect for their bodies and have respect for the decisions that they choose at night to who they want to sleep with and whether or not they're ready to have a child. And if they're not ready financially or emotionally to have that child, maybe to look into the plethora of birth control that is on the market, readily available, and in most cases paid for by you and me, the taxpayers, so they can get all of these plethora of options for free. But we don't want to talk about preventative measures. We only want to talk about murdering the unborn children. That seems to be the only option with you guys, right? Women's rights. Yay. Let's talk about women's rights. You see, it's only about women's rights when it fits the narrative that you want to push. It's not about women's rights when we're allowed to have men in our dressing rooms, in our locker rooms, and in our sports teams, right? Women's rights. Yay. Not about those women's rights though, huh? Just the ones if you want to push, all of that. And let's talk about dictators, shall we? You know what's kind of dictatorship behavior? When the president of the United States basically says, you can't have your small business open, but yet these big corporations can stay open. And if you don't get well, you're a horrible human being. How dare you want your own body autonomy? You should get this. You're not allowed to go see your families in nursing homes or get together for your families for Thanksgiving or Christmas, right? That's kind of dictatorship behavior. How about this dictatorship behavior? Ready? If you don't give me what I want, which is more money to send to Ukraine, unaccounted for, then I'm going to be sending our sons and daughters over to fight another country's border war. Meanwhile, ours is wide open and thousands are coming across every single day, right? Kind of a dictatorship thing to say, don't you think? I mean, that's what I think. But I mean, hey, we're just living in this new reality, aren't we? You see, it's always about what the mainstream media has pumped into your head, right? Donald Trump's a fascist, he's a dictator, he's Hitler, and easily led minds are very easy to control. See how that works? So you just keep pushing that same rhetoric. He's a dictator, he's this, he's that, all while completely turning a blind eye to the guy in charge right now who's actually acting like a fucking dictator. Weird how that works, right? You see, it's only about these things when it comes to the narratives that you guys want to push for your political rhetoric, right? Right. Women's rights should be women's rights across the board, not just whatever fits the narrative that you want to push, okay? I, as a 49-year-old woman in the United States of America, have lost zero rights. Abortion is still legal in most states out there. So taking the Supreme Court decision and putting it down to state level is probably the most democratic thing you could possibly think of. And if the Democrats cared so much about your rights, why didn't they codify Roe v. Wade? They had plenty of time to do it. You see, it's only about this stuff being pushed right now because it's an election year and their guy's getting the absolute pants beat off of him. So what do? We start attaching ourselves to these emotional hot button issues like gun control, racism, abortion, because it gets the easily led people all emotional. So they run out to the polls and they vote for Joe Biden and the Democrat Party. And then meanwhile, they just laugh because they just get their vote and they absolutely do nothing about these issues that they keep bringing up to you that they supposedly care so much about, right? Wake up, girl. You're part of the problem. Good talk.